And now, more Pro Wrestling Weekly with your host, Fearon.
Sit down, shut up, and listen up.
Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com. Fearon here with you, talking WWE, talking TNA, even talking House of Hardcore today. Just kind of going all over the board, as I am all over the world. At this point, I'm north of the border up in Canada, Bizarro World, as Jerry Lawler likes to call it, because anywhere apparently outside the United States is Bizarro World to him. He's done a lot of bizarre things himself, which that's a whole nother topic for another day. One topic I want to get into a little bit, TNA Impact, which hasn't aired as of my recording of this, but thanks to some pre-recorded spoilers, which by the time this makes air, it won't necessarily be spoilers, so I can talk a little bit about them. We have a new X Division champion in Suicide. Or do we? Yeah, Hulk Hogan came out after the match was over and announced that the real Suicide had been jumped and a different Suicide won the title in his place. The fake Suicide running away through the crowd, and it was determined later in the night that that fake Suicide was Austin Aries, who said he was going for Bully Ray's title. There were also a couple of Bound for Glory series matches, and Mickie James held on to retain the Knockouts title, but that was the big focus and story of the week. Suicide supposedly winning the X Division title, but not necessarily the real one. One of these things definitely not being like the other. We'll go back to WWE for a second, going back to Raw, where Paul Heyman, he had been avoiding CM Punk after Brock Lesnar showing up at the end of Raw to deliver that F5 to CM Punk. Both of them being Paul Heyman guys. Punk wanted some answers and was finally able to get them, courtesy of this clip on Raw.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman. And for 7 days I have been dogged by the same question from every person in my life about Brock Lesnar attacking CM Punk here on Raw. And for the first time in my life, I have ignored, admittedly, I have ignored CM Punk's texts and his emails and his phone calls because, unfortunately, we live so much of our lives here in public. I figured the only way to do this is face to face right here in front of all of you. So CM Punk, I know you've been looking for me for a week and you want answers, and tonight you're going to get those answers, because CM Punk, not only does your public await, but Paul Heyman stands here tonight and I await your presence as well.
You want to do this in public. You want to air dirty laundry in public for their entertainment. Okay, well, before we do that, I think the public should maybe be caught up to speed on exactly why I have questions, or exactly why, based off of your rotten reputation in this business and a rotten reputation at being a human being, why exactly I am a Paul Heyman guy. In 2005, after wrestling around the world and generating a little bit of buzz for myself, I was signed to a contract with World Wrestling Entertainment. And at that time, the senior vice president of talent relations was that goof, John Laurinaitis. So Johnny, in all his infinite wisdom, thought it would be a great idea to shuffle me down to Louisville, Kentucky, so I could go through the WWE developmental system that was in place. Now, at the time, probably because he burned a lot of bridges and pissed off a lot of people up here, Paul Heyman was in charge of WWE's developmental system. And you were really set up to fail this time, weren't you? Because, ladies and gentlemen, no matter what anybody says now, CM Punk was not supposed to succeed because there were certain people in a managerial position that did not like CM Punk, and they emailed Paul Heyman every week. They let him know. They sent him notes. They sent him texts. Emails from Vince McMahon himself saying, cut the kid loose. The kid's no good. The kid's not what we look for. Paul Heyman was told to never even consider about bringing CM Punk to Raw or SmackDown television. But despite Paul Heyman's proven track record and even better demonstrated track record of being a liar and a manipulator, and no matter how many times they wagged their finger in his face, tell him to fire me, Paul Heyman never pulled the trigger. Paul Heyman refused to fire CM Punk. He saw something in me. He believed in me, and he had my back. So much to an extent that when ECW was resurrected, Paul Heyman's first draft pick was me. I don't mean to bore anybody with this dirty laundry between two friends, but now that I've got that out of the way, there's two things I want to say to you. And me and you are going to come second. The first thing is, I want you to tell Brock Lesnar I'm coming for him. You understand? I don't care that he's bigger than me. I don't care that he's stronger than me, because he's not better than me. You know what I'm going to say next. I'm the best wrestler on the planet. And you know it better than anybody. And I'm going to say it straight up to your face, because Brock doesn't have the balls to be here today to hear it from me. You know me personally. You know there's no one more sadistic. There's no one more relentless. There's no one more dangerous. So if he's your friend, if he's your client, you let him know I'm going to do whatever I have to. I will do whatever it takes, and I'm going to bring your beast incarnate down.
Okay.
And now we can finally address the elephant in the room. What happened last week? Now, because of our past, because no matter how many warnings I ever got about you, or how many horror stories I heard about how much money you owed somebody, or how many times you stabbed people in the back, you never did me wrong. So last week, did Brock Lesnar attack me on his own? Or did Brock Lesnar attack me because you saw the writing on the wall after Payback? Because I told you I don't want you ringside anymore. It's just business. Did you sick Brock Lesnar on me? And this is me talking to you, Paul. For the first time in your life, I want you to tell the truth, because I'm not them. And don't try to lie to me, and don't try to manipulate me like you lie and you manipulate to everybody else. This is me standing here, and I can take it. Tell me it was tough love. Tell me you sent Brock Lesnar after me, and I can accept it. But I just need to know the truth. So for the first time in your life, make me the exception of the rule, and don't lie to me. Look me in the eye. I want you to swear on your children that you didn't have anything to do with it, or you tell me you did. Either way, come clean right here, right now. And for the first time in your life, Paul Heyman, you tell the truth.
I never wanted it to be this way between us. And since you demand the truth, and because you would be able to see through me, and because as my best friend, and until something happens, you are my best friend, you deserve the truth. I will tell you the truth straight to your face. On my children, I did not know that Brock Lesnar would be here last week. And that's the very same response I used to get from Vince McMahon and Stephanie McMahon and John Laurinaitis when I would tell them, hey, this kid is the next WWE champion. He's your next main event. He's the next WrestleMania main event. They would boo me in their emails and their texts and on the telephone. You know it as well as I do. It's a fact. Brock Lesnar fulfilled his contractual obligations to WWE at Extreme Rules. It's a fact. I did not know Brock Lesnar would be here last week. And here's another fact. If you really want to hear the truth, here's an uncomfortable one. The moment you said Brock Lesnar needed my help, you, CM Punk, picked a fight. You didn't pick a fight with me. You picked a fight with Brock Lesnar. And you know it's a fact that this was bound to happen because the professional jealousy between the two of you has run deep both ways for a long, long time. And I'll back that up. Why do you think I never pitched to you? Why do you think I never suggested to Brock? Why did I never go to Vince McMahon and say, let's do a CM Punk Brock Lesnar tag team? Imagine the money we all three could have made with that tag team, even if it was just for one night only. Why did they never see CM Punk and Brock Lesnar in the same ring at the same time? Why did we never see CM Punk and Brock Lesnar together? I kept the two of you apart. And why? Because of the professional jealousy between the two of you. Just like in 2005 and 2006, I did make an exception that made the rule. Business came second. Our friendship came first. I'll ask you this. All these things you said about me are true, and I don't deny them. I never denied them in my life. I am who I am. I am what I am. I accept myself for all my flaws, but I'm not stupid. I mean, you really think I'm stupid? I am going to walk down that aisle with you one day. No time soon. I get it. You need your space, and I respect that as your best friend. But I'm going to walk down that aisle with you one day when you're challenging for the WWE Championship. I am going to walk down that aisle with you one day when you, sir, are where you rightfully belong in the main event at WrestleMania. That's my dream. Because as unpopular as it is, as uncomfortable as it is for the whole world to hear, CM Punk, I love you. You're my best friend in the world, and I'm gonna screw up my dreams because I got mad that I can't be ringside during your matches because you need a little space, because you need a little time to yourself. I'm gonna screw all of that up. I will never represent anyone against you, and that includes Brock Lesnar, and Brock Lesnar is going to have a problem with that, and that's between me and Brock. That's not your problem. In 2005 and 2006, everybody pointed their finger at me and said, Paul, get rid of him, and I didn't do it. And now in 2013, everybody here tonight is telling you and pointing their finger at you, and they're telling you to get rid of me. So my fate is in your hands. And with all due respect, to be honest with you, it's your move, Punk.
I think Heyman's about ready to go to sleep by CM Punk.
I'm sorry I doubted you.
So the live WWE crowd not exactly thrilled with the fact that CM Punk and Paul Heyman are at least somewhat on the same page again. And that page, well, it's been shaken up a little bit more as Punk ended up then having a match against Darren Young of the Primetime Players. And post-match, both Primetime Players attacked Punk, and who came out to Punk's aid? None other than other Paul Heyman guy, Curtis Axel. And that has set up a tag team match for this coming Monday, Curtis Axel and CM Punk against Darren Young and Titus O'Neil of the Primetime Players. Should be interesting to see if the two of them can coexist, considering that they're on slightly different playing fields, and might we see Brock Lesnar again? Hard to say, who knows. Anyway, one other thing from Raw that kind of, I don't know, I guess you could say, to take the Peter Griffin line, it kind of grinded my gears, you know. One of the graphics, you know, WWE always touts the "Did you know?" and throws the various self-congratulatory stats out there. Well, they boasted that SmackDown was nearly 10 times more socially active than ABC's 2020, which is, that news journalist or the news documentary show that they have usually on Friday nights, running pretty close to around the same time as SmackDown, maybe a little bit later. Usually, I don't think there's much of a crossover between the two, but I don't think there are a lot of people necessarily tweeting about what's going on 2020 versus what's going on SmackDown. So, I don't know. The fact that it was nearly 10 times more socially active, does that mean that 19 people were tweeting about SmackDown as opposed to 2 people for ABC's 2020? I don't know. It just didn't make sense to me. It just seems like it's one of those times where they're trying to pat themselves on the back for something that really isn't that noteworthy. I don't know. If I had my druthers, I'd say, go back to looking at the rating sheets and see why things are going down. And once you fix it, then that'd be a time to kind of pat yourself on the back, Barry Horowitz style, little self pat on the back. I don't know. This is definitely an interesting week, to say the least. Looking forward to being back live in studio next week. Got some news and notes coming up on the other side, including a passing of a pro wrestling legend. We'll talk about that. I've got some Extreme Rules numbers coming your way. Also a CM Punk update, a Jack Swagger update, a Jake the Snake Roberts update, and a parody video from Zack Ryder, which is probably funnier than the actual videos that it's parodying. Who'da thunk it? Anyway, we'll go ahead and take care of our second time out. A little bit of Facebook feedback thus far. Ron chiming in from Raw this past Monday in the street fight between Daniel Bryan and Randy Orton. He said, when was the last time Randy Orton tapped out to anyone, especially Daniel Bryan? And Ryan from Northeast Philly chiming in, while I've always liked Orton, Daniel Bryan is just the man right now. I hope he takes the title from Cena soon for more than just my loathing of Super Cena. And John from the Northeast adding in, fill in the blank, should Daniel Bryan be champion? And he has 3 blanks, all with exclamation points. I don't know if that's supposed to mean yes, 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 no, 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 or a mixture of the two, yes, no, yes, in which case, well, that's more for the Zodiac. Coming back with news and notes, this is Pro Wrestling Weekly here on 1490 WBCB and online at WBCB1490.com.